Many of us has watched this video severally, but there's something we fail to understand. When we watch this video, we are seeing it in the perspective of Nigeria or Africa or global. But as a Biafran, you have not really paid attention when you listen to this video. In fact, I've watched this video before until I come across it again. Maybe something brought it around my side. Then when I listened to this video again, I discovered something. This video remind me of this our struggle, the struggle for freedom of Biafran people. We have done everything possible to get the attention of the world leaders. They pretend as if they're not hearing. You even begin to wonder, is these people really hearing us? Of course they are hearing us. Of course they know. But who cares? They don't really care. We have done everything. We have been killed. We have been humiliated. We have been disgraced. We have right. We have protested. We have done everything right. We have done some things wrong. But nobody cares. Nobody listens. Nobody want to, pay attention just because they don't want you to be free. All they care for is their own well-being. Like Donald Trump always said, America first. And every other world leader of the Westerners, all they care for is their own people, for their own well-being. They extort Africa. So they don't really care. When I listen to this video in Biafra perspective, I begin to see that nobody cares about us. Nobody cares about us. But notwithstanding, we will continue to do our best. Freedom is our right. We deserve to be free. We will continue to agitate. We will continue to cry out. We will continue to strive because we deserve freedom. We deserve freedom so that we could do things like human beings. We could build our own nation in the way that is the Westerners do theirs. We could live like human beings. We could have things that make life worth living. We can develop our area and live normal life, have health facilities, have things that is the government supposed to provide for their people. That is why we are agitating, and it is our right. So when I listened to this video, I observed things. I don't know whether you observe something. If you have not listened to this video, I pray that you watch it again and you see that this brother was really making sense. He was even saying the truth, nothing but the truth.
I made a video where I said that there is another plan for regime change in Nigeria and that Tinubu is the puppet of the West. And somebody commented under that video and said, how can you say that Tinubu is a puppet of the West and also claim that they want to change him? Isn't that contradiction? Not at all. I want you to know that there are 4 powerful countries interested in Nigeria: the UK, France, China, and the United States. The difference is that China doesn't care who you elect as your leader. They don't interfere in other countries' election. Out of these interested countries, the United States is the biggest bully. I also want you to know that the UK, France, and the United States are essentially the same people by blood, but separated by agenda and conquest. The UK, France, and the United States have ruled us through ethnicity, tribe, and religion. They just use anyone convenient for them at the time. I know some of you are now triggered that we should stop blaming colonialism, that we are not the only country that was colonized. Let's move on. How can you move on if you don't know that you are still being ruled by proxy? How can you move on when your leaders are not answerable to you? I know you have been conditioned to believe that black people are evil and they cannot rule themselves. But black don't have history of invading other people's country and taking them as slaves. The question is, why are all these countries interested in our country. That is a story for another day. The US want to have full control of Nigeria, even though the market was established by Britain. Nigeria is a market and an extraction site where the West come to extract mineral resources without being challenged. And our division, hatred for one another, and lack of understanding that we are still being ruled by proxy is what keeps their business running. The agenda of Islamization of Nigeria needs to stop. We are fighting wrong battles. We need to start paying attention to the real issues. You see this story of Islamization of Nigeria, I swear it is a distraction. You need to focus. So the United States wants a puppet that only them can control. They want a puppet that cannot challenge them when they bully other countries. Guys, I have a series coming up soon on how Europe invaded and colonized the world. It will answer every question that you may have now. For now, let me focus on why they want to change Tinubu. It was started in 2024 during Israel-Palestine conflict. Conflict is not the right word, but let me use it so that Facebook will not restrict my account. The UK, France, and many other countries supported Israel. Israel is the United States, and the United States is Israel. Anyone against Israel is basically against the United States. In 2023, when the conflict started, the UK backed Israel. Even the then Prime Minister Sunak traveled to Israel to show his support, saying that Israel has the right to defend itself. Then, on September 2024, the tone of the UK changed. They started condemning Israel for the further expansion of military operation in Gaza. They called Israel inhumane for blocking aid and suspended 30 arm export license over international law risk. The question is, why did the UK, who once supported Israel, suddenly started condemning them? Pay attention, it is for two reasons. Number one, spoils of the war, we are not getting to them as expected. Two, Israel, we are making the killing so obvious that it started looking bad in the eyes of the rest of the world. The UK has always presented itself as an emblem of morality. So when Israel began damaging their packaged reputation, they had to back out to appear as the good guys. On November 16, 2023, the Islamic movement in Nigeria held pro-Palestine protest in Kaduna State. It turned violent because police tried to stop them. Then on April 5th, 2024, another protest was held in Abuja by the same Islamic movement in Nigeria, calling for peace in Palestine. On September 25th, 2024, Vice President Kashim Shettima addressed the United Nations General Assembly. In his statement, he said, "Today we are all witnesses to the heart-wrenching situation in Gaza. Freedom is an inalienable right and a natural entitlement that cannot be denied to any people. The Palestinian people deserve to have a home of their own on territory already recognized by this very assembly and by international law." On March 2025, another protest was held in Abuja by the same Islamic movement in Nigeria. This time, it was more fierce. 11 protesters died along with one soldier. On July 29, 2025, the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced that the UK will formally recognize the state of Palestine in September 2025. Not because they like Palestinian people. It is to protect their own interest. The US is trying to protect their own interest. Them too are trying to protect their own interest. Then on August 8, 2025, the US Vice President J.D. Vance met with the UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy at Chevening House in Kent. J.D. Vance made it clear that the US had no plan to recognize the state of Palestine. And he also went further to say that if it was easy to bring peace in that part of the world, that it would have been done already. J.D. Vance said that recognizing Palestine state is rewarding Hamas. Then on September 21st, 2025, 3 days before the United Nations General Assembly, the UK finally recognized the state of Palestine. Then there is a conflict of interest. Where does Nigeria come in? Nigeria is under US and we're also under the United Kingdom. So who are we going to support? Then on September 24th, 2025, Kashim Shettima attended the United Nations General Assembly again and also reiterated Nigeria's stance on Gaza. In his statement, he said, Palestinians are human beings, equal in words, entitled to the same freedom and dignities that the rest of us take for granted. That is why we say without stuttering and without that a two-state solution remains the most dignified path to lasting peace for the people of Palestine. The people of Palestine are not collateral damage in civilization's search for order. His statement went viral and triggered the United States. Anyone against Israel is basically against the United States. The South African president, Cyril Ramaphosa, also spoke in that event. He condemned Israel and accused them of committing genocide in Gaza. These two statements from Nigeria and South Africa dealt the United States. Elon Musk accused the South African government of committing genocide against white South Africans. And the president was later invited by Trump to White House for questioning. You see what is happening in South Africa today is sponsored. Julius Malema was first jailed for shooting gun in the air. Before this campaign of every African needs to go back to their country and leave South Africa, they want to first separate South Africa from other African countries before the total subjugation. Well, that is a topic for another day. So after Kashim Shettima's statement in the United Nations General Assembly, the pressure on Nigeria increased. On October 6, 2025, 13 days after Kashim Shettima's statement on hunger, the U.S. House of Representatives Rally Moore called Nigeria the deadliest place for Christians and urged Rubio to sanction and suspend arms sales to the Nigeria government. Marco Rubio is the U.S. Secretary of State. Are you familiar with the game? The same playbook they used on Goodluck Jonathan in 2014. I'm making this video now for some of you who said that we should stop blaming colonialism and move on. Move on to where? They placed an embargo and suspended arms sales to Nigeria government while we are still trying to fight the same terrorists that they wanted to remove Goodluck for. That a sovereign nation had to use a private citizen's jet to sneak in weapons from South Africa. And South Africa was later sanctioned because of that. And we say we should move on. How can we move on when we cannot take a decision on our own without their permission? And for some of you who will come to this place and say that I'm supporting Tinubu, Thunder will fire you and fire Tinubu at the same time. Then on October 7, a day after, a U.S. Senator Ted Cruz, posted on his X account about the alleged killings of Christians in Nigeria. He said, since 2009, more than 50,000 Christians have been slaughtered in Nigeria and over 18,000 churches and 2,000 schools destroyed. Then on October 14, 2025, Mike Arnold, Reno Omokri's friend, who has praised Reno Omokri in a video with one other person as a friend, calling them incredible men of God, suddenly remembered that the same Reno that he has praised is now a pathological liar and started amplifying the Christian genocide narrative. Person will be Reno friend now, you go know the type of person that he is. Then October 31st, 2025, President Donald Trump redesignated Nigeria as a country of particular concern for religious freedom violation and also threatened to invade Nigeria. The next day, November 1st, 2025, President Tinubu responded, rejecting the characterization and affirming Nigerians' commitment to religious freedom. Later the same day, Trump fired back with another statement saying, if the killing of Christians continues in Nigeria, we will stop all aids and they may go into Nigeria gun blazing to wipe out the Islamic terrorists. He then instructed the Department of War to prepare for possible war. Listen, Trump did not threaten to bomb Nigeria because he really cared about Nigerian Christians. No. US in collaboration with Israel actually bombed churches in Gaza. So why would they care about Nigerian Christians? Oh, you think you are more special? Cuba that they are planning to bomb now is a Christian country. So you are just a negotiating chip. However, make no mistake, the Nigerian government did not condemn Israel because they care about the people of Gaza. It is to protect their own interests with the UK After Trump threatens to bomb Nigeria on November 1st, 2025, the security situation in Nigeria suddenly got louder. On November 17, 2025, 26 school children were kidnapped in Kebbi State. That story dominated headline like 48 hours. Then 2 days later, November 19, Brigadier General Musa Oba was killed in Borno State. Ask yourself why. Borno State is 95% Muslim and they practice Sharia law. If the fight was Muslim versus Christian, why are they killing in a state that is 95% Muslim and they practice Sharia law? The general that was killed was a Muslim also. So that general killing was more of a message. Do you know the coordinated effort it takes to kill a brigadier general? To become a brigadier general, it takes 25 to 30 years before anyone can attain that rank. So they are knowledgeable in the battlefield. You don't just stumble into killing them. When that general was killed after US threatens to bomb Nigeria, that was not a coincidence. It was a pressure. That is the pattern that they use. The goal is to force a regime change without calling it a regime change. Make the government look weak, divided and unable to protect its people, and now amplify it through senators, media houses, and activists. They are not planning to remove Tinubu because he has failed. Of course, we all knows that he has failed, but that is not the reason. They are planning to remove him because after Shetima's UN speech, Nigeria stopped sounding like a puppet that nods to every US and Israel position. The US does not want allies. They want controllers. Nigeria picked a side at the UN. When you are under US umbrella, picking a side has consequences. The fight is never about Tinubu. It is about who gets to control the extraction site. Nigeria is an extraction site, remember, and Tinubu happens to be the gatekeeper of that site. What happens next? My name is UC Divine. Watch out for my next video.